Welcome to last week's album. I'm Derek.
Now I'm Kevin.
And before we start talking about good music, we're going to start things off like we always do, drinking a beer. Cheers, Kevin.
Cheers, Derek, and everyone at home.
And this week, very refreshing, we're talking about the album Spite by the band 100 Visions. 100 Visions is an awesome bass quartet that was formed in 2011, and they describe themselves on their Facebook page as psychic taco rock. And Spite, this is their sophomore album following 2012's Permanent Basement, and their name, interestingly enough, comes from a very famous T.S. Eliot poem. Kevin, bonus points, do you know which one that is?
Of course, Derek. It's the love song of J. Alfred Prufrock. I thought everyone knew that. Guess not.
Well, I'm glad you did, at least. So enough literary allusions aside, let's jump to sounds like. Kevin, what do you think Spite sounds like?
Sure, Derek. I think Spite by 100 Visions sounds like a kaleidoscope of garage rock, psych jams, classic rock, and post-punk. What do you think, Derek?
Kevin, I like that. I kind of took a different approach here. I think this sounds like an angsty, grungy, post-punky mixture of these bands, not all together at once, but some variation thereof. The Strokes, My Morning Jacket, Portugal, The Man, and Bass Drum of Death.
Nice. Yeah,
Let's cover a lot of ground. Yeah, there's a lot here. So that brings us to key tracks. Kevin, what did you have?
Derek, for my key track, I'm going with Our Ritual. What about you?
Kevin, that's a great track you picked there, but I'm actually going with Blood on the Moon. And Our Ritual is first, well, not first, but is before Blood on the Moon, so why don't you start us off?
Sure. Our Ritual actually comes second on the album. Comes storming in with this incredibly catchy chorus right off the bat, where they sort of stretch out every last syllable of the title in a really fun way that's incredibly fun to sing along with. They've got pumping drums, chugging bass, clanging guitars, these wailing chant-along verses, and a very scuzzy, scorching, psychedelic guitar solo that's amazing. And then they have this fake-out ending where you think it's all going to drop out, and it comes back in even heavier and with more power. Overall, just an earworm romp that'll get stuck in your head and your hips for days. Derek, tell us about Blood on the Moon.
Blood on the Moon really stood out to me for its sonic differences compared to the rest of the album, which I'll kind of describe here in a little bit. It really opens up with this dueling, non-distorted guitar lines playing off each other, key here being non-distorted. And then there's an easy-paced bass and drum beat, and despite the kind of leveling down in the overall noise aspect, it really kind of creates this tense vibe underneath. The chorus features this energetic, freewheeling vocal melody joined by a buzzing guitar line in the back, which the psychedelicness kind of remind me of the Future Birds, actually. And the lyrics, any relative lightning sonically does not extend the lyrics here. The main character warns of dangers hiding behind many of life's doors, and in a later, darker twist at the end, he kind of raises the question whether or not he's one of those dangers hiding behind those doors. So just kind of, I thought really it stood out from its sound, but at the same time it had this undertone of, just intensity and kind of a dark nature, which just really I found intriguing. And so that brings us to best lyric. Kevin, what did you have?
Sure, Derek, you mentioned some dark lyrics there. That's something that's very pervasive to this album. There's a lot of dark themes and sort of post-apocalyptic lyrical themes. But this line that I'm going with is from I'm Inoculated, and it goes, "We're picking out swatches for the colors of our coffins." And you hear it in context of the song. It's both sort of deep and telling, but also kind of over the top and hilarious at the same time. It's basically just a cultural satire. So although it does sound dark, I think there's a little bit of tongue-in-cheekness there, at least the way I'm taking it. What did you pick for your best lyric, Derek?
Kevin, mine actually comes from the same song, and I thought really also echoes those themes, and maybe it'll put yours and my best lyric into some greater context here, which I think mine could be lost in the lack thereof here in a second. So my best lyric is as follows: pervasive shittiness, absent from prettiness. I need some protection against this soul inflation. Once again, really, yeah, kind of this tongue-in-cheek, dark look at society and some stuff there. Yeah, in kind of this quirky, manner, which I just kind of dug. And so that brings us to overall rating. And Kevin, since I'm leading, I get to put you on the spot. So what do you think?
You do. Fair enough, Derek. I'm giving this one a 4 out of 5. As I mentioned, there's a lot of dark, apocalyptic themes, but the pace and the energy of the music keeps things really surprisingly upbeat. And the speed and the energy of this album alone is worth plenty of credit. They keep a breakneck speed from song to song to song to song, and it never gets old. It always stays fresh. So the musicianship is on point to keep up with that. These scorching guitar solos, breakneck drums, pounding bass lines, wailing vocals. And they even throw in these sort of like vintage sort of throwback vibes sonically that are really nice, but there's still this sort of modern and in-your-face intelligence to the overall thing. So, and for me, it also gets better from the beginning to the end. This really nice build over the album. My only critique would be that the pace and the volume can be a little bit taxing if you let it, but if you just kind of go with the flow, don't listen to the lyrics too closely, and just rock out, you're going to have a great time with this one. So, 4 out of 5. What do you think, Derek?
Kevin, I'm giving this one, we're agreeing, I'm giving this a 4 out of 5 as well. And just to your point of don't listen to the lyrics too closely, I think, to their credit, they do a good job of being very unintelligible for a lot of it. So that, kind of lightens that load. Pun maybe intended, I don't even know at this point. But I totally agree with a lot of your points. I really did. I thought they created this very unique sound that a lot of times I was like, man, I felt like I listened to this in the third wave punk, Renaissance. It's come back when I was young and all those bands. At one point, I was like, is this a little bit of Rancid in here? So I loved it. Yeah, it grows on you. There's a lot going on. Their chops musically were fantastic. The way the bass and the guitar lines just really moved in sync, and at the pace and the complexity of which some of these riffs were going was very impressive. So 4 out of 5 from both Kevin and I, so that's an 8 out of 10. So you really need to go check this one out. And don't forget to join us again next week or next time here at Last Week's Album. We're going to continue talking about good music. And don't forget to subscribe to us on any of our number of social media outlets. So thanks for joining us again. I'm Derek.
And I'm Kevin. See you next time, guys.